Let's do a setup on this. Again, I have to go in the x-axis, right? So I'm going to use my fence. Then I'm going to take my clamps here from Tormach. And this is, again, the low profile. And I really like these just because it just helps us stay out of the way, per se. And I like to get this down first, so this got a nice angle. A lot of times I'll come in here and just twist this just to make sure that I'm up close. So let me just show you that real quick. I'll just come in and I just rotate this back and forth to make sure I'm at the farthest away. Usually it's the very, very thin part of that concentric head. Snug that down, make sure that this is down flush. And I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and snug that up. It doesn't take much because we're not really tearing any material out or hogging out material. All we're doing is a light engrave. And you notice that I've got my two-tone on here so that we can see a difference. All right, so now I've got my G54. I'm set, ready to go. One thing that I'm going to do, instead of running at 0, I'm going to take this, I'm going to set it up 4 millimeters up, reset my 0, and then I'm going to cut air. That way I can double check my spacing in there and alignment, just to make sure that in terms of my Y, I'm centered, and my X, I'm centered. And if I want to offset it because I want to do something underneath, I need to go through and double check that as well. So let's go ahead and air cut this. I've got this running at 12% speed, then I'll start it a little bit faster as we go along. So here we go, cycle start. So far, I like how it gave some gap on that far left side. We'll go through and check this. All right, so we've got it running now, and I went back and I changed a couple of things. One, like I said, I moved it up, so I think I'm now about 14 or 15 millimeters up from the bottom. And the other thing I did is instead of 0.075 of depth, I went ahead and put it to -0.1 so that we're running just a little bit deeper into that. Let's take a look at this in here when it's done. Not too bad. I think I want to shift it a couple of millimeters to the left. So I'm going to change my center off just a smidge. The other thing that I'm noticing is this side was just a little bit more of a shallow cut versus this side. So there's a couple of possibilities. One, as this clamp pushes into it, sometimes it lifts ever so slightly. Or I could just have a piece of wood that has a little fluctuation after running it through the planer or the sander. So with wood, you don't necessarily have a lot of margin for error because it'll show up. If I were to do this on aluminum, I would be able to be more specific, and I'd probably be a little bit more consistent all the way across. But there's what we've got for the top part. Now let's go ahead and let's put the school name down here underneath. That might be something that is kind of interesting, or maybe the teacher's area of interest, their subject area. So let's go ahead and do that in PathPilot. All right, so let's change a couple of things. We're going to go ahead and put this as the school's name. So we're going to recreate, if you will. Actually, let's go subject area. Let's do that. That might be kind of interesting. So we'll go subject. All right. We're going to keep everything the same. G54, 33 mil. I'm going to change this, I think, only to a 5. I don't think I need to go high like we have been. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that. We're going to change this. And again, instead of 8, we were at a 3.75 mils there. Let's go ahead and change this. Let's go I&D Lab. Let's just do that. Innovation and design. If I do the full word of innovation design, remember I run into that problem of length, and then I would have to figure out where we are going to be in terms of that spacing. I said I wanted to change that just a little bit. So let's go ahead, take that to 28.5 mils. I want to change this to a -0.15 mils because that's what we were doing there. Let's move that window. And here, I'm going to change this to 5 millimeters. If I were to take my ruler, I can get pretty tight on that. So this is a different example of something. 5 millimeters gives me that kind of border. Let's just go about 4 millimeters. Let's just see what happens on that. Because that's kind of what I've got on the top. And so we'll work with that. Everything else looks to be okay. I'm going to go ahead and subject 1, we're going to post. Again, we're going to keep it in that folder. So we're going to go ahead and hit save. This has a new title. So I can see right here, I've got 24.6 millimeters across. So that's about an inch. That'll be fantastic. That's totally going to work for what we need to do. All right, so let's go ahead, brush that off. I have to say, that's not bad. That's some pretty good contrast right there. That'll pop, especially as someone is wearing that. So now let's do this. Let's append it so that we could technically go in and just change names, and we could run this as a full cycle. All right, now to get students to move at a little bit quicker rate and really start to master these files, I'm going to come back in and open up the teacher file, or the teacher's name, pardon me, and we're going to go a conversational edit. And with this, I can go ahead and click teacher's name, but what I really want to do is I want to insert a file, the one we just created. So I go back into my folder, here's my subject, and I'm going to add that. So now I've got the teacher's name and the subject, and I can go back and I can open this up and change it at any time. Now I do want to do something different. I want to save this as a different name. So actually I'm going to do number 2. And if I want to, I could put in so that I know that this is the teacher's subject name. All right. And this could be a second one, a third one, a fourth one. So depending on the teachers, I could just continue to change the numbers, or I could add someone's initials for that teacher in order to know which is which. All right. So then I'm going to go ahead and click on save. And usually I will see both of those added up. Right? So if I come back in here, I can see both of them. If I want to look at just the teacher's name, that way I can double check. I can do the subject line, double check. But this is what I really want to see going on. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit close. Oh, I've got some errors. So I need to go back and double check all of these. It has something to do with where I was saving it at. All right, so what did I need to do? It was telling me I didn't like that slash. So I went ahead and just put in a dash in there. And now I've got everything saved and it will be ready to rock and roll. So I've already saved it. I can close that. And now I can go ahead and run it. And as the student brings this up, they could go ahead and start changing those names and so forth. So in order to do that, they would come back in. Here is my teacher subject name, number 2, conventional conversational edit. If I come back in here, I can do that edit and I can type in the actual teacher's name. I will go ahead and hit finish, and then it will set that up. I would come into subject, do the same thing, conversational edit. Again, I could hit that finish. And if I need to rename this, right, I can just go ahead and do a save as. And then I can put in the specific teacher subject. And then I've got that on file for however long I need it. I can delete it at a later time if need be. And that's how we make those name tags. We're going to go ahead and overwrite, and we're going to create another one.